Welcome on in. Cool. Today I am going to be sharing the behind the scenes of what is possible in your intimate relationship. And I'm so excited to share this because not many people talk about it. And we can also have limiting beliefs around what is actually possible because in society, we get a lot of false images of what intimacy actually is and what it looks like, and maybe what it quote unquote should feel like. So, welcome on in. Let me know if you are watching in the comments. I love hearing from you and I love hearing your questions. And hashtag replay if you are watching the replay, and let us know that you're a part of our community. Kia ora, my name is Sarah and I am a women's sexuality coach. And today we're going to be exploring what does a true connective intimate relationship actually look like, right? And I don't want to share this in a way that is going to make you feel bad, or the idea of this is actually to give you some markers of what to look for you to be able to reflect on your own intimate relationship and go, oh yeah, we're doing this super well, like celebrate this. And there might also be some opportunities for you to go, oh, I don't know about that type of intimacy. Like maybe I want to explore that with my partner, or a future partner that I might have. And I'm here to de-shame it all because one of the biggest blocks into experiencing true pleasure is shame around sexuality, connection, and intimacy. And so let's get that all off the table, because if you haven't experienced super intimate relationship, or you feel like there's something more but you're not quite sure what that is, and yeah, this conversation brings up some things for you, I want to let you know that this is absolutely not your fault, right? At all. This is just a product of your past experiences. And so for all of us, the first role models that we have of connection, love, and intimacy are our parents. And so if you just reflect on your parents' relationship and how intimate they were, then you might get some understanding of, cool, maybe that's where my ideas came from. Or even just reflect on, wow, what were you soaking up as a small child, seeing that type of interaction? And if your parents were super connective and loving, then that's amazing. And it is more likely that you will have connective, more loving, intimate relationships because you've seen that as a role model. And if you didn't have that, then there can almost be like a ceiling, right? Or a boundary around what you actually think is possible because you haven't seen anything outside of that. And in our society, just think about the dominant images that often get portrayed around intimacy. There can be a lot of falsities that really set people up to feel bad, or to try and perpetuate something that actually doesn't bring them a lot of pleasure. So for example, there are certain industries that that portray intimacy in a way that can be derogatory to one of the people. It can be over dramatized, and so it doesn't honor and reflect, the fact that a woman's body needs a long time, or can take a long time to warm up. 40 minutes is pretty standard. Yeah, and it can also pigeonhole males, females, anyone into certain roles of what they need to take on, or how they should look or sound or feel in terms of intimacy. So not only am I going to share with you the different stages of what intimacy could look like, but I also really want to name that there can be a lot of unlearning to do in this process, and destigmatizing and breaking through potentially what you have learned, your societal norms, and the family that you grew up in. So not a small topic to start to dive into, but absolutely possible for you to recognize where your thoughts and opinions have come from. Another good one is in the church, so you can just see if those teachings align with you or not. So I'm not here to say that anything is right or wrong. I'm actually here to say that intimacy is about what feels good for you, right? Not about what anybody else tells you, or any way that you think you should look, or any way that needs to be portrayed. Um, but I do notice certain patterns in the couples that I coach and the women that I work with in this field. And I hear these stories, and there is different depths and layers of intimacy that you could be exploring with your partner. And I know when I was at the start of my sexuality journey, I really had no idea what I was diving into. And having somebody to explain this or create a bit of a pathway would have been so helpful. By the way, I am offering free discovery calls just for the next, how many days? 4 days. 4 days to go. So if you are interested in really liberating and freeing your feminine power and enlivening your sexuality and feeling pleasure-filled intimacy, then come have a chat with me. It's a free 45-minute call. I work with women and I do couples intimacy coaching. Okay, so the first style of intimacy that I want to talk about is perhaps intimacy that's detrimental, but you don't know that it's being detrimental. So an example of this is when women come to me and they say, oh, well, I'm just having sex because my partner wants to have sex. Or, well, I kind of like need to offer this and make it available, otherwise he or she might go looking somewhere else. So there is an element of obligation in here, and generally it's not super pleasurable. It might be okay, but it's not like a really heart-connected, pleasure-filled, expansive experience, because there is this obligation piece in here of like not really being in full consent, like kind of feeling like you are in consent because maybe you're married to this person, or you think that this is something that you should do to have a healthy relationship. And I want to say that potentially this could be detrimental to your own self-worth, your own connection to your body. So just think about if you are constantly doing something that is pushing you past what feels good, or you're pushing past your own boundaries, or what helps you feel fulfilled and worthy and respected, then just see if that aligns with what you want in your life. And sometimes women say to me, but like, if I don't do this, then my partner's going to leave. And I would suggest, well, you know, if actually you go on your own sexuality journey and you start to empower yourself in this way, and you start to know what you like and what you don't like, your partner is actually going to be way more attracted to you when you are in full consent and in pleasure of your own body. So it's not that your partner's going to leave, it's that perhaps there's a journey that you might need to lean into in order to awaken and connect with that part of you, so that you can feel really met and seen in your intimate connection. And this is going to have a dramatically beautiful effect on your relationship as a whole, because the connection and intimacy is not just in the bedroom, it overflows into other areas of your life, including your relationship. Cool. The next category that I want to speak to, these are kind of in an order, but not necessarily a hierarchical order, right? Which is non-existent. So there's no intimacy in your relationship. And this can feel frustrating. It can feel there's a lot of sadness around here. There can be a lot of shame and guilt. And also I want to say that it's not always necessarily a bad thing. There might be a period in your sexuality that you're going through where you're not being intimate because you are connecting with yourself and starting to hear what feels really good for you, and taking some time and space for you. That can actually be something that's healthy. At the same time, if there's a big trigger around this because there is no intimacy and you do want intimacy, then the common responses are frustration, beating yourself up, negative self-talk, or getting completely apathetic, that you just don't even care about sex at all because like it's not pleasurable, and who would want that anyway? Right, so these are the stories, all the patterns that can come up. First of all, I invite you just to recognize if any of that is true for you. And then second of all, again, this is so workable. You can absolutely change your mindset around this. You can change how you feel in your body. It is completely liberating and freeing and powerful, and it goes even beyond finding intimacy with your partner. It's like a whole building and remembering of who you are as a person, your truth, right, and your worth. So you may have tried lots of things. You may be feeling like a bit disheartened in your sexuality journey if there's no intimacy at all. It may also feel like there's a huge elephant in the room because you can't communicate with your partner. And even bringing the topic up is kind of like, oh God, it's been so long now that we haven't been intimate. It's just super awkward. So again, all these things can be worked through. It just involves some communication, some connection, and coming back to the basics so it doesn't feel threatening or scary. And then you can move into maybe like good sex. Okay, so good sex is where you're feeling in consent. You are a yes to this. So you're not like a no, which would be the detrimental version. You're not, you're kind of like, you may have times where you're like, oh, maybe this feels good, maybe this doesn't. But ultimately you want to be there, right? You want to be there with your partner. And there is a level of pleasure here. And you do recognize that sex is also for your pleasure. That you're not outsourcing your pleasure to your partner or anybody else, but you have some level of sovereignty over your own body and your pleasure. And good sex can feel connective, loving. It may not leave you afterwards with like this huge glow that will last days. It's kind of like oh cool, yeah, that was really nice. Feel connected, roll over, go to sleep type of deal. Okay, then you can move into great sex. And I guess, this is just my personal opinion or what I've experienced or what I see clients experience, but you can have your own markers, right? Like what is good for you? What is great for you? Like maybe a certain style of sex makes it great. Or I think often what it is about is how you feel inside of your body and how you feel towards your partner. I mean, you could actually be doing this on your own as well. Just that is also totally in the realm of all of this. And actually, even when I talk about quote unquote sex, I'm not talking about necessarily full penetration. It could just be, just stroking each other's body, just being intimate is more where I'm going with this, because there's a lot of hype up of like, what is sex and getting to the climax of that. But actually it can be so much more than that. And actually how you feel and the intimacy behind it generally is kind of like more connective and is what lasts, what you remember in this experience. Because you can have like quote unquote penetrative sex, but it cannot feel connective at all, right? So there's got to be an element of intimacy here. So great sex is like, man, like you're smiling kind of afterwards, or you could be crying. I mean, it just allows you to open up your heart space and feel in love and feel filled up, to almost have that feeling of like wanting to maybe go out and share it or spread it with the world, because you're like, I can't believe how good that was last night. Oh my gosh. You'll probably find that if you're with a partner, you're more loving and more touchy outside of the bedroom. You're probably fighting less. You can also experience yourself losing connection to time and space because you're so in the moment, right? You're so present with what is happening moment to moment. And depending on your philosophy, it can also involve letting go of the goal. So not trying to get to an end point, but really, really being present. And that is when you will feel the most connected and the most pleasure, is when you're right here, right now, rather than thinking about something long into the future. Then we start to move into like more tantric, I would say, forms of intimacy, and going outside of the box, right? Going outside of the norm of what you think might be possible in your intimacy. And intimacy is so creative because it's two people coming together to create something, to create magic in between themselves. And anything is possible. And anything is possible within the constraints and the realms of what you think is possible. So you can get constricted by your limiting beliefs or the limitations of where you think you can go in terms of your pleasure, connection, and intimacy. So let's talk about healing intimacy. This is where everything and anything is welcome. Okay, it's not just bliss and joy. It can be crying, it can be anger, it can be a full expression of emotions. And it's not necessarily, and it's often not directed at your partner. It's more that the whole bodily experience, you're allowing yourself to feel to your full capacity. And when you allow that, you also allow emotions to move through you. And when you allow emotions to move through you, you feel alive, okay? Even if it's a sad emotion, if you can be with that and allow that to move through you, and you have somebody there holding space for you to cry, it is an incredibly connective and healing experience. And both partners want to be on board with the fact that this is possible, that this can happen, that there's nothing wrong, right? Your partner doesn't need to fix you or try and stop you crying. Both of you need to be on the same page, that you can just allow all of it. And it is liberating, it is freeing, it helps you release trauma, past patterns, negative emotions. And on the other side is this lightness or expansion that you can step into once you've felt your feelings. And so you can then come back into pleasure. So it's holding the pleasure and the pain and all of it, but essentially feeling incredibly alive and open and vulnerable in your body. And vulnerability is the greatest tool for connection. Let's talk about devotional sex. So this is when you're moving outside of the realm of just you two together and moving through your bodies, and you're connecting into something bigger than yourself. So this is where it becomes a spiritual experience. And whatever your belief system, you can apply it wherever. But physiologically, it makes a lot of sense. You've got lots of oxytocin flowing through your body. You're part of your brain is like opening up in different ways. Your cognitive, your neocortex is just like quietening down because you're more in your body, which activates the limbic system and is able to feel more and feel more expansive. And you're doing this all, with breath and sound and movement. So it's the perfect recipe for feeling like you are connected into a greater energy of some sort. But you can only do that when you're out of your head, which is where I think the difference is between the good sex and the great sex, is where you can drop out of your head and move into your body and into your pleasure. And this can be a beautiful spiritual experience where you are with your partner, but it's less about the personality and less about the physicality, and you move into a different realm of connection and love, a unity with everything. So you can feel like you are one with your partner because you're also one with everything, with all of life. Because sexual energy is life force energy, and it is running through you in crazy amounts when you're being intimate with your partner. The last one is super fun. It is called Sex Magic, and it is based around the principles of manifesting and bringing into you what it is that you really, really desire. So during pleasure or at the point of climax, you can speak out loud, you can call out, you can name, you can own what it is that you're stepping into. And this is like doing affirmations, but on steroids. It's like super, super, super charged, because you have all this like huge flood of positive chemicals, reactions, physiological responses going on inside of your body. And for you to really embody something, or for you to want something, desire something in your life, you can think about it and that'll get you so far. But if you embody it, if you really know and feel that this is your reality right now, then it'll come to you way sooner. So this is the principle. You bring it all the way into your body. You surround it with positive emotions. You give it the biggest kind of energy hit and kick that you can. And then you start to tap into manifesting on a whole other plane, a whole other realm, using intimacy in this way. So there could be that you are being intimate, but you're missing out on the opportunity of combining it with bringing in even more of what you want. So as a sum up, there are lots of different ways that you can experience intimacy. I'm not here to say which one is right or wrong for your situation. I'm offering you a chance to reflect on what feels good for you. Do you have any limiting beliefs? And what could be possible for you to expand into when you start to work with new possibilities, new ways of being, and softening some of those limiting beliefs. And waiting for you on the other side is lots of creativity and expression and exploration and love and connection. And yeah, I really want that for everybody on this planet. I think this is what is going to liberate you in your own personal power and your own worth, and essentially building healthy, loving, connective societies, and also being role models to your children and the young people of this world that, man, intimacy and love is beautiful. It's something to be shared or expressed in ways that feel appropriate in your situation, and yeah, we can step into that. So if you are interested, I really invite you into a free 45-minute call that I'm hosting, 4 more days to go, or if you're watching this way later, you can always DM me and ask me, see if you can slip on in at the end. But this is a chance for me to hold you and listen to you and really see if we're a good match to help you get what you want. And I can let you know that my clients get incredible, incredible results. Couples that are feeling more connected than ever, women that are more connected to their power, their worth, their sexuality, their pleasure than what they ever have before. And so, if this is something that interests you, then what have you got to lose? Come book a call with me and we can go from there and see if we're the right fit. So looking forward to seeing you, hearing you. If you're not already in my Facebook group, The Pleasure-Filled Woman, please make sure you come on over, because it is such a delightful place to hang out. And we practice being in pleasure because it is powerful to be witnessing your pleasure, right? Especially by other women. So, sending you so much love for the rest of your day. I want to see you soon and really excited to be sharing all this amazing info with you.